I want to ask you something, and I want you to answer it honestly. Not the answer that sounds right, the actual answer. If your employer called you tomorrow and said your position is being eliminated, what happens to your financial life? How many months could you sustain yourself? How quickly would anxiety hit? And more importantly, do you have anything else? Any income that is yours that you built that doesn't depend on someone else's decision whether they want to keep you or not? For most men, that question produces an uncomfortable silence because the honest answer is not much. One income stream, one employer, one decision maker making all decisions but standing between them and financial disruption. And that is not an indictment. That's where most people start, but it can't be where we stay. Because here's the truth about income that nobody in the traditional career conversation tells you. A job isn't a wealth strategy. It's a starting point. And the men who build real financial security, that creates options, that weathers disruption, that compounds across time, they don't rely on a single string of income that someone else controls. Today, we're talking about building income on your own terms, not quitting your job tomorrow, not becoming an entrepreneur overnight, building deliberately in layers the kind of income architecture that puts you in the driver's seat of your financial future. This is Sana E. I'm XO. Before we talk about expanding on income, I want to name one thing that keeps most men from doing it because it's not a lack of ambition, it's not a lack of intelligence, it's a lack that you didn't know about. It's a ceiling, and most of it is internal. The first ceiling is the salary mindset. When you've been paid a salary your entire working life, your brain begins to associate that income with a fixed number. You get paid X amount per year, that is your worth. And every small raise is like a permission slip from someone telling you that you're worth slightly more than before. Sounds messed up, right? The salary mindset isn't just a financial pattern, it's an identity one. It conditions you to outsource your value to whoever writes your check. Ain't that something? The salary mindset. And I've seen that too with a couple of clients where they've been capped off at a certain salary that they think they're all they're worth, that they don't venture out because they're loyal to a company, loyal to that. But it's like understanding you got to know your worth in the field that you're in when it comes to your career. The second ceiling is scarcity thinking about opportunity. We talked about this in episode 5, the survival posture that makes expansion feel threatening rather than possible. For men who grew up watching adults work for modest returns, the idea of building multiple income streams or starting a business can feel very presumptuous, right? Like the kind of success is for other people, but it's not. It's for you as well. So you have to think that and put that because you think that and it's a lie and the data calls it directly. Let me tell you, a 2025 Pew Research survey found that more than 1 in 5 Black adults in the US say owning a business is essential to their personal definition of financial success. And census data confirms that they are acting on it. The number of Black-owned employer businesses grew by 57% from 2017 to 2022. Black entrepreneurs grew revenue by 65.7% in that same period, a growth rate higher than any other racial group except one. The ambition is there, the movement is there. The question is whether you're in it. And let's talk about the third ceiling. This one right here is the most dangerous one. This is waiting for permission, waiting until you have enough experience, enough credentials, enough savings, enough certainty, enough of whatever makes the next move feel safe enough to take. I was there. I've been there. And it's ugly. It's like you're losing a lot of time. And understanding that that permission never fully arrives because the requirement keeps shifting. And you know how it is. I'm waiting for this to happen. I'm waiting for that to happen. I'm waiting for all the stars to align. And every year you wait is a year of compounding you do not get back. These ceilings are real. They were built from experiences and real fears. They can be dismantled deliberately, one decision at a time. And that comes down to you making that decision to deliberately break through those ceilings. Now, let's talk about the income architecture. Here's how ambitious men build income. Not all at once. I thought I had once at first, but I did the research, I studied, and I figured like, you can't be having your hands in a lot of pots. You got to focus on one thing at a time. The person that tries to master a lot becomes a master of none. So it's about mastering whatever field you're in at first and then branching out. So we do this in layers, each one built on top of the last, each one expanding the ceiling without burning down what is already working. Layer one, maximize what you already have. Build, before you build anything new, you got to maximize what you have. Maximize the income that you're already generating. Are you earning what you actually are worth in your current role? Research consistently shows that the fastest way to increase income and employment is to change jobs. I know you're like, what the hell? Change jobs? Yes, change jobs. Not wait for those annual raises. Men who proactively negotiate and move strategically earn 20 to 30% more over their careers than men who stay put and just want to wait. Know your market value. Ask for what you're worth. Move when the move makes financial sense. The W 2 income is your foundation. Treat it like an asset. Layer number two, monetize the skill you already have. You have a skill, something you do well, something people would pay for, something that does not require you to learn from scratch. Whether that's consulting, coaching, design, writing, speaking, photography, tutoring, bookkeeping, whatever it is, that skill can generate income outside of your primary employment. Not a business yet, not a brand, just someone who pays you for something you know how to do. This is the simplest and fastest way to add a second income stream, and it builds the muscle of earning outside a paycheck, which is fundamentally different and more powerful muscle than earning inside one, right? 90% of Black entrepreneurs surveyed by the US Census Bureau cited greater income, the desire to be their own boss, and work life balance as their primary motivations for starting a business, not passion alone. Income and autonomy. The most successful entrepreneurs are not just following a dream, they are building a machine that generates income on their terms. That distinction matters because it keeps the work grounded in outcomes, not just feelings. Layer number three, build a business. Even if it's a small one, you want to do a lemonade stand, go and do it. A business is not just a bigger version of a side hustle, it is a system. It generates income that is not directly tied to your hours. It can grow beyond your individual capacity. It can be sold, it can be inherited, it creates jobs, it builds community wealth. And for Black men specifically, business ownership is one of the most direct pathways available to close the racial wealth gap from the inside. The barrier to starting has never been lower. A service based business requires no capital. A digital product requires no overhead. These tools exist. The access exists. What is required is the decision to begin. Layer number four, build passive and semi passive income. Investments, as we covered in episode 7, are the foundation of passive income. Dividends, index funds, real estate rental income, royalties, digital products. These income streams require work upfront and generate returns over time without continuous active effort. This is where income becomes wealth, when money is working while you're asleep, not overnight. This layer comes after the foundation is solid, but it is where the ceiling truly evaporates. 4 layers, not all at once, in sequence, starting with what you have right now. That's the key thing, starting with where you are, not trying to jump ahead, and being patient and build intentionally and deliberately. But now I want to switch up. I want to talk to my 9 to 5 brothers for a few minutes, specifically on career strategy and understanding, because I think the career conversation gets skipped in financial and entrepreneurship spaces. Like if you have a job, you're somewhere somehow doing lesser than everybody else. And that's wrong. A well executed career is a wealth building strategy, especially in the early years. You are building a foundation, you're developing skills, you're accumulating the capital that funds the next level. The question is not whether to have a career, it is how to move through it with intention. Because I feel like once we get into a career, we get comfortable. We stop growing, we stop elevating. We're like, okay, I made it. What else is there? There's nothing else to do. But it's understanding we always have to push that ceiling higher and try to elevate to the next level. It's like you may be in your career for the last 10 years and you hit that ceiling to where you're like, okay, what is next? Or you're just comfortable that you're going through the cycle and just existing and you stop living. So it's understanding where you're at and keep moving forward. So this is the first move that I want to talk about. Get paid for your actual value, not your loyalty. The data is consistent. The biggest income jumps happen when you change jobs, not when you stay. Companies give a 3% average annual raise. Job changers average 10 to 20% income increases per move. Loyalty is admirable, but it ain't gonna get you that money. Underpaying yourself for loyalty isn't a strategy. Know your market value. Research what your role pays in your market at your experience level so you know what you can get paid. Not 3 years ago, because I believe we all get in. We're like, oh, I've been here for 10 years. This is the going rate for what it was when I first started. Always check the markets, the current market rate, and position yourself accordingly. Move number two, build skills that compound. In every field, there are skills that are commodities, widely held, easily replaced. And there are skills that compound, rare, high value, increasingly relevant. Identify the skills in your field that are getting more valuable, not less. Invest in them. The man who is learning the same skill as everyone else is building the same income ceiling as everyone else. The man who develops a skill that fewer people have and that organizations increasingly lead creates leverage. Leverage creates options. Options create negotiating power. Move number three, build your network like it is a financial asset. I've always been told your network equals your net worth. Your network equals your net worth. And that is true because that's like the realest thing. It's not what you know, it comes down to who you know. Research from LinkedIn found that 85% of jobs are filled through networking, not job boards. Your network is the infrastructure through which opportunities move. And for Black men navigating predominantly white industries, a strategic network also includes mentors and sponsors who understand your experience and can advocate for you in rooms that you're not in yet. Build intentionally, invest in it consistently. The return on a real professional relationship compounds the same way money does. Federal data shows that Black owned employer firms face significantly higher financing denial rates. At 41% of Black applicants were denied outright, compared to 18% of white owned firms. This is a structural barrier that makes network even more essential for Black entrepreneurs and career builders. When traditional capital channels are more close to you, access through relationships, whether it's investors, mentors, clients, collaborators, who you know and trust your work. Become the alternative funding mechanism. Your network is your capital. Build it like it. Move number four, never stop building the business case for yourself. In a career, you're not just doing work, you are building a record of value created. Document it. Know your numbers. What revenue did you generate? What costs did you reduce? What problem did you solve? What did the organization gain from your presence that it wouldn't have gained without you? The record, that record right there is your negotiating currency. It is what separates I deserve a raise from here's what I have produced and here's what it is worth. The second conversation wins every single time. Now I want to connect the dots before we close because you already know I saw an IE. Never let the financial conversation flow free of the mental health one because that's where we always circle it back to that mental health. There's a documented relationship between economic autonomy, the sense that you are the author of your own financial life, and psychological well-being. Men who feel economically dependent on a single employer, on a single income source that did not build, report significantly higher rates of anxiety, lower life satisfaction, and a reduced sense of purpose compared to men who have built income that gives them options. That is not an argument for quitting your job tomorrow. It is an argument for building consistently, patiently in layers toward the kind of income autonomy that gives your nervous system room to breathe. The financial anxiety that we've been discussing all art, whether that's the scarcity loop, the survival posture, the chronic stress of financial precarity, is significantly reduced when a man has more than one stream of income. Not because he is rich, but because he has options. And options are what convert financial fear into financial confidence. And I want to name something specifically for the brothers in the audience who are ambitious, the genuinely deeply ambitious ones, but who have been in environments that did not reward that ambition, who were told to be realistic, who watched their ambition get managed by people who either were threatened by it or didn't simply know what to do to support it. Research on psychology autonomy from self-determination theory finds that three core needs drive human well-being: competence, relatedness, and autonomy. Of those three, autonomy, the belief that your actions are self-determined rather than externally controlled, has the strongest correlation with sustained motivation, mental health, and life satisfaction. Building income on your own terms is not just a financial strategy, it's one of the most direct routes to the psychological autonomy that human beings are wired to need. Your ambition is not a problem to be managed. It is not a source to be developed. The ceiling is not fixed. It was set by people and systems that had reasons, economic, structural, or personal, to keep it where it is. You have every right and every tool available in this moment in history to raise it. So it's time to get that raise. You dig? Now let me close out on something real. Black-owned businesses generate $206 billion in annual revenue and support 3.5 million jobs in this country. The growth rate of Black-owned employer firms, nearly 57% in 5 years, is one of the most remarkable economic stories happening in America right now. And it is happening in spite of capital access barriers that make the same journey harder for Black entrepreneurs than white ones. That tells me everything I need to know about our community and what we're capable of. When we decide to build, because we have to decide to build, making that decision, you're not building in a vacuum. You're not building closed off. You're building as a part of a movement of Black men and women who are creating economic power at a rate that is reshaping what is possible. Every business you build, every income stream you add, every skill you develop and monetize, every job you create is not just your financial future, is a part of a collective economic story that our generation is writing right now. The ceiling is not the building structure. It is where the last person stopped climbing. You don't have to stop there. So your action this week: identify which layer of income architecture you are on right now and identify the one specific move that gets you to the next layer. Not fives, one. The next brick. Because at the end of the day, to build your architecture, it's going to happen brick by brick. And you got this. That being said, man, I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Share the show, like, subscribe. We on YouTube. Follow us on YouTube. Like us on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. Leave your comments. Good, bad, ugly. Hey, all comments are good comments to me. It means God got the people talking. But with that being said, man, enjoy y'all week. I'll see y'all back.